Osborne Samuel have exhibited at Masterpiece Art Fair from its inception in 2010. The fair quickly became ingrained in the social calendar with UK and international clients. The fair is one of the very best examples of cross-collecting, with top dealers from every discipline of art, design, furniture and jewellery. Each year, Osborne Samuel have curated a booth of exceptional works of art. We have collaborated over the years with designers such as Charu Gandhi and Benjamin Kempton, who have created an environment for us to display our works, sourcing beautiful lights, furniture and materials for us. This year was to be no exception. Masterpiece, however, like so many events globally, has been cancelled due to COVID. However, the organisers of Masterpiece have endeavoured to recreate the allure of the event online. As one of the leading modern British dealers, we will exhibit in our virtual booth a diverse group of paintings and works on paper by Auerbach, Bomberg, Craxton, Hilton, Kossoff, Lanyon, Moore, Passmore, Sutherland, Tilson, Vaughan, as well as highlighting some of the key sculptors from this period, with carvings and bronzes by Armitage, Butler, Chadwick, Mitchell, Moore and Turnbull. Also on display are works from our stable of contemporary artists, the Welsh painter Brendan Stewart Burns and the sculptor Sean Henry, both showing new work for the first time. Osborne Samuel has for many years been closely associated with the work of Lynn Chadwick. This year for Masterpiece, we have brought a very striking teddy boy and girl from 1957, created the year after he won the coveted sculpture prize at the Venice Biennale. The leitmotif throughout Chadwick's career was the paired figure. Among the series of dancing couples, teddy boy and girl proved the most provocative. The very act of plucking a title from popular culture seemed calculated to raise critics' hackles, a catchpenny trick as guileful as a song's refrain. For Chadwick, it reflected both the playfulness, often evident in his sculpture, and a narrowing of the distance between art and reality, a confrontation that proved increasingly fertile. Such clashes could be merely elusive in titles such as Later Alligator or Moon of Alabama, or, as is the case of Teddy Boy and Girl, point to imagery derived fundamentally from contemporary visual culture. The composition of Teddy Boy and Girl suggests a joyous abandon to the music. Osborne Samuel represent the estate of John Craxton. Mother and Child from the 1950s will be exhibited for the first time at Masterpiece. Craxton's early visits to Greece, and in particular his discovery of Crete in 1948, transformed his painting. The different quality of light was one factor, but equally significant was a new focus on the figure. He began to draw the shepherds, priests, sailors, and children he encountered, both as portraits and as figures in the landscape. This development he saw as belonging to the spirit of his new surroundings, Mediterranean artists being fundamentally interested in people, he wrote. Craxton's Mother and Child depicts an archetypal image with fresh insight. The palette is one he discovered in Greece. The particular shade of blue used as a backdrop, the contrasting yellow of the mother's dress, and the red or blue lines deployed to define form. Although clothing identifies the figures as 20th century, their frontality and flattened perspective draws from Byzantine mosaics Craxton saw and admired in Istanbul, Italy and Greece, encounters he described as disruptive and strengthening. Frank Auerbach is today arguably the greatest living British painter. Auerbach met Juliette Yardley Mills in 1956 when she was working as a model at Sidcup College of Art. He began to paint her the following year and continued to do so at his studio in Camden every Wednesday and Sunday until 1997. As with all his repeated sitters, Auerbach developed an acute awareness of posture and mood. I notice something when people first come and sit and think. They do things with their faces. It's when they become tired and stoical, the essential head becomes clearer. They become more themselves as they become tired, Auerbach is quoted. Auerbach's drawings evolve and assume their final form across weeks of sittings. A day's work may be scrubbed back the following morning to leave an accumulated deposit of charcoal. In some cases, the paper wears perilously thin and needs to be patched. The finished drawing represents the last sitting, the most recent thoughts, yet Auerbach feels compelled to retain the accumulated traces as a part of a process of securing the image within its own space and atmosphere. Jim was an ideal sitter, capable of holding poses for long periods of time. Head of Chim 3 gazes partially downwards. There is a weight and solidity that derives from the density of charcoal, implying the settled mass of the sitter, at ease, one shoulder higher than the other. The volume of her head is registered through its eye sockets, cheekbones, and chin. Through these we gain an intuition of its totality and how it might feel to follow the head round, past its visible limits. Henry Moore is one of the most significant British artists of the 20th century, and Osborne Samuel have held many exhibitions of the artist's work over the years, curating both for museums and galleries globally and working closely with the Henry Moore Foundation. Moore had always wanted to make a figure in wood with a bend in its pose. His preference was for elm, and prior to the catastrophic arrival of elm disease, he carved 4 over life-size sculptures. In 1975, he acquired a large elm tree recently felled and immediately began to carve the unseasoned wood. Once finished, he regarded reclining figure holes as having something special and different from the others. The carving was documented from start to finish by the photographer Gemma Levine and published as a photo essay with comments by Moore. In several images, the plaster maquette can be seen as a tiny sculptural presence on top of the elmwood block, its softly modelled surfaces contrasting with the roughly chiselled planes of the figure. Cast in bronze in 1975, maquette for reclining figure holes is a tactile, enigmatic form. From the front it rests languorously, space entering the composition through voids where limbs arch and touch. Reversed, the salient feature is the curve Moore anticipated so keenly. These two facets are complementary yet unexpected, and unfold as a lucidly structured organic form. If you would like further information about the works highlighted or other available works, please visit our website at osbornesamuel.com or our virtual booth at masterpiecefair.com. The gallery is also open by appointment.